Okay, we're going to take a look at our final battles of the American Revolution. That is Lumen. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some major turning points during the war. Okay, the Battle of Saratoga, October of 1777. Okay, the British plan was to cut off New England and the other colonies by taking control of the Hudson River. Okay, the Hudson River runs from upstate New York down to New York City. All right. And they're going to march from Canada to meet down with British forces in New York. Okay, General Burgoyne would march through the wilderness, down the Hudson River, cutting off New England from the rest of the colonies. This was the strategy. Okay, as a result, British General John Burgoyne led his men from Canada to Albany, New York. Okay, in order to delay General Burgoyne's progress, American soldiers destroyed bridges, cut down trees, and created huge areas of mud by damming up streams and rivers. The Americans then launched a surprise attack, defeating General Burgoyne's forces, which never received reinforcements they expected. Also, the soldiers colonists amongst the frontier were using tactics such as killing officers that the British really appalled the British. Okay, this is a turning point. The battle convinced France to join the war on the side of the U.S. That's going to be a pivotal factor. Here's Burgoyne surrendering. A major turning point in the war. Okay, Benjamin Franklin is here in the court of France, where he had been working along with John Adams to secure France's assistance with the revolution. See, France wanted any reason to get back at Britain for the French and Indian War, because they were always mortal enemies, France and Britain. Okay, now Valley Forge is going to be a major test of George Washington and his army. Okay, Valley Forge, the army had to wait out the winter, and many didn't even have shoes. They were starving. Disease started to spread, but George Washington hired von Steuben to help reorganize the army and get them become a more elite fighting force, and will also keep morale up. Okay, so during the winter of 1777 through 78, George Washington troops suffered severely. They've had hunger, lack of shoes, and also frostbite and disease. Okay, with help of Frederick von Steuben, the army survived and became well trained. Okay, so that is Saratoga. Now we're going to take a look at the final battle of the American Revolution and the events leading up to the American Revolution. Here's Betsy Ross showing the United States flag to George Washington and others. She came up with the idea of the American flag that we have. Okay, war in the South. The British moved the fighting to the South after France enters the war in an attempt to gain loyalist support. Okay, so you have Benedict Arnold. Arnold was an American general who secretly offered to turn over the fort at West Point to British in exchange for money. So yes, he is a traitor. You do not want to be called a Benedict Arnold. Okay, the Battle of Yorktown. General Cornwallis set up camp in Yorktown, Virginia. General Cornwallis. Here he is. Okay, but here comes the French fleet, and they cut off Cornwallis from receiving any supplies or reinforcements, from Britain. Help, says Cornwallis. Here come the British ships, and they're unable to get to Cornwallis. So as a French fleet under the leadership of Admiral de Grasse blocked the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay, preventing Cornwallis from receiving supplies from the British Navy. Now George Washington is able to march his army south, sandwiching Cornwallis. So George Washington, along with 6,000 French troops led by General Rochambeau, marched to Yorktown, from New York. Okay, the U.S. and French troops cornered Cornwallis in Yorktown. Okay, Cornwallis surrendered on October 17th, 1781, ending the American Revolution. Okay, the Treaty of Paris. Okay, here was the colonies before the Treaty of Paris. Now, as a result, at April of 1783, the British recognized the U.S. as an independent nation. Also, the U.S. territory stretched from Canada, okay, to Florida and the Mississippi River. So everything that's here in the white. Okay, and Britain returned France to Spain. Now the United States is now an independent nation. Okay, the U.S. promised to ask state legislators to pay loyaltists for property they lost in the war. However, most states pay the loyaltists nothing. Okay, Washington's farewell. In December of 1783, General Washington bid farewell to his officers. Okay, so such a scene of sorrow and weeping I have never before witnessed. The simple thought that we were then about to part from the men who had conducted us through a long and bloody war, and under those conduct the glory and independence of our country had been achieved, and that we should see his face no more in this world, seemed to me utterly unbearable.